Ever since man started to dig for coal underground, there have been accidents. The deeper the mine, the more dangerous it became. Roof falls were commonplace, and seeping from the coal was an invisible odourless gas, methane. In the right proportion of methane to air, a simple candle flame or a spark is enough to cause the gas to explode, with devastating results. The 1911 Coal Mines Act made it mandatory to have a mines rescue service, offering training and equipment to save lives. The Wrexham Mines Rescue Service building was built after 1911 by the North Wales Coal Owners Association at Maesgwyn Road in Wrexham. Men that had trained at Maesgwyn Road went underground at the 1934 Gresford disaster, when 266 men were killed. 3 brave men from the first rescue team to go into the mine also perished. These were not ordinary men, but selfless men, risking all for their colleagues and friends. The building at Maesgwyn Road had special galleries to train teams from neighbouring collieries, even up to recent times, to practice ready for almost any eventuality. Memories of training at Maesgwyn are still strong, as a former rescue team member well recalls.
I worked in Plaque, and I was in one of the rescue teams from Plaque that had to come here for rescue practice. And I was in number 3 team. Because we had 1,000 men, we were allowed 3 teams, and I was in the 3rd team. So I got in the rescue team in 1966, just before, well, 3 or 4 months before Plaque closed. And then I had to go, and then went to Gresford and continued being in the rescue team.
How many people would there be in your team, roughly?
Roughly about 5. And we'd work as a team, because even if you were carrying a stretcher, you'd need 4 and 1 to control. So that's why I'm pretty positive it's 5. And in Plaque, where I worked first, we had 3 teams, because there was over 1,000 workers. When I went to Gresford, we still had 3 teams. But in the olden days, before the mechanisation, they would have had 4 and 5 teams. It all depends on the number of workers that they had in the mine. This tunnel was a training tunnel with hot and humid conditions, and it was really to test you, to see how far you could work in that conditions. Some could work for 10 minutes, some could work for 20 minutes, and that was the idea, to just test you to see how long you could work for in them conditions. You used to get the smoke coming in, the hot air, just the same conditions as you would have down in a colliery.
What would be on the floor?
It would be a body, which we used to have in here, like a big wooden dummy. We wouldn't know where that is until somebody had seen it with his light, or felt it walking, and we would have to treat that dummy, whatever we thought was wrong with it, whether it was head injuries, whether it was what we used to have to deal with that.
This is full of smoke. How did you communicate?
It was with a hooter, just like you see on bicycles today. Just an ordinary hooter. There was about 5 signals on that, lift, lower down, and that was the only system we had to communicate, because we had a mouthpiece that was we had to bite on, and that mouthpiece was a perfect seal. You couldn't have, like what happens in the fire service now, you get a breathing apparatus and you can talk through. In the mines you couldn't do that, because you get the fire damp or whatever would come and break that seal if you started talking. So you weren't allowed to do that. So you could see it was just the hooter was the main communications.
What was it like in here when you came in? Can you describe actually coming in through the door?
Well, when we came in, there would be obstacles on the floor, and we had to go around that obstacles and really search around in the smoke with our lights and our gas lamps and different things, just to measure if there was any gas here or anything, and what we could work in, how long we could work in them conditions. Now, to put these doors up, it took an awful lot of pressure and lifting to put it up. So some could do it one side in 5 minutes, others might take. I would wear overalls first of all, and then I'd have my breathing apparatus, which weighed 54 pounds. It was a proto. What was good about the proto was that if I was behind a roof fall or anything, I could fill my bag up with air and could last for 20 minutes. So I could last for 24 hours by doing that. That's the difference between the fire service. They just go into a building and straight out. So they might last for, I think it's a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, and they're finished. But with the mines proto, we could fill the bag up about 20 minutes and try and conserve our energy so that we knew that we had 24 hours before somebody could perhaps rescue us if we were behind the fall.
On your head you've got a helmet.
Yes.
Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, the helmet is a special helmet to the rescue station. You can see that there's little vents in the top there, and I take that was to cool you in certain conditions, because of the hot and humid conditions. I would imagine that helped to the airflow on top of your head.
And your light?
My light is the cap lamp, and used to get that charged up in the lamp room, and that would last us for a considerable amount of time, and it was our only link that we had was that lamp, because if we haven't got an electric lights down there only on the main tunnel, so this was our main communications with them.
Can you turn around and show us the battery pack, please?
This is a battery pack. I would, at the end of my shift, I would be taking that into the lamp room. They would charge it up, ready for the next time that I need to use it.
And what's the next thing?
That's a CO2. They were introduced in the 60s. That was to help us if we were in some gases. That would help us to put this on so that we could get out.
Is that also known as a self-rescue?
Yes. Yeah. Well, as I said, we come into a gallery and it's pitch black, smoke, and hot and humid conditions. But at the end of the day, the light that we've got is something that we appreciate, because without it we wouldn't be able to see what we're doing and different things. And I believe personally it's without it, where miners had the old gas lamp, you couldn't see as much as what we can with these lamps. The miner's lamp was a miner's friend. It was something that without it would really be, well, you couldn't exist on it without it, to be fair. You needed it. In the olden days you had the gas lamp, and that didn't show you much light. This shows you a lot more light, and with the conditions that we're in, you can see that was a stop-in, and I can look at it and really know what is in front of me. With the gas lamp, I can only see a small distance, but this cap lamp is a godsend. When we first got on as a mines rescue, we were given a plaque to put on our houses. So the reason for that was that if we were called out at night time, a policeman would come round with a torch, and he would be able to find out where the mines rescue people were and knock them up, and so that he didn't wake anybody else up. the plaque was the sign to say there was a mines rescue in that property.
And what's he doing in the tunnels here?
It's doing in the tunnels here where the miners would come along in their practice, their lights would be on there, and they would guide the rescue people to different points where a body or people are injured. That would be the sign to say that it's in that area. As you can see on the wall there, version number 3 team, we're here on the 20th of the 3rd, 86. They would be doing their practice, trying to find a body in smoke conditions, and they have to mark on the wall which way they are proceeding, just in case that there is a problem. Another team would be following and they would do the same thing.